Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, November 16th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily Bank Shop best bet in college hoops, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday in college basketball. First up, we see Notre Dame and Georgetown. This one's going to be a 1 p.m. Eastern start time on NBC. So both of these teams are 2-0 to start the season, but I've been more impressed with Georgetown. They've faced a slightly tougher schedule. Both teams have faced pretty weak schedules, but I think when you look at Notre Dame's win over Buffalo, pretty concerning for me. Only a single-digit win, 86-77. That's the same Buffalo team that just got crushed to Bryant in their last game. Notre Dame does look improved this season, but I think Georgetown's really improved. Trent Sorber, the freshman for Georgetown, so far has been outstanding, and I think he's going to be a star in the Big East this season. He really does it all. He's a lethal scorer. He's been excellent on the glass. He's been able to limit turnovers, and I think that Georgetown, they really needed a piece like that in the front court. They've had some pretty good guard play and backcourt play in the last few seasons, but the front court's really where this team has been inconsistent, whether it be injuries, underperformances. But I think Sorber's going to be a key piece this season for Georgetown to pull off some upsets in the Big East. It's still a very competitive conference, and I don't expect too much success. But in games like these against teams like Notre Dame, I think these are classic examples of Georgetown able to pick up some wins to kind of boost that program along. I think Ed Cooley's doing a pretty good job so far with the Hoyas. It's going to take another year or two, I think, for them to be really competitive. But I like the chances in a game like this. Notre Dame has not really impressed me so far with their wins over Stonehill and Buffalo. They've been decent fundamentally, but their defense not strong enough, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the Hoyas at home. Next up, we see St. Peter's and UMBC. This one, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. St. Peter's has played a tough non-conference schedule thus far. They're 0-3 straight up, but 3-0 against the spread as a road dog in these first 3 games. They played Seton Hall, UMass Lowell, and Rutgers, so they're definitely battle-tested, but I don't think it's going to be enough in this game. I think matchup-wise, the advantage goes to UMBC. UMBC, what they lacked offensively, they make it up on the offensive side of things. This is a very volatile team. They play at a very fast pace, which I think will be uncomfortable for St. Peter's, which is right now one of the slowest teams in the country. And UMBC also makes a ton of threes. Against their D1 opponents, UMBC's got a 42% three-point percentage. That's top 30 in the country right now. That, I think, will be a problem for St. Peter's because while they've been decent from the perimeter themselves this year, I've noticed that St. Peter's has taken a lot of tough shots, a lot of low percentage shots, and I don't think that these shots are going to be falling by the end of the season for a team that last year was one of the worst shooting teams in college basketball. St. Peter's is already turning the ball over left and right. They're ranked 284th in adjusted offensive efficiency. For me, this is a bad matchup, and then you add to the fact that this is a revenge game for UMBC, which lost to St. Peter's last year. I got to go with the Retrievers at home in this one. Next up, we see Idaho and BYU. This one, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. For me, BYU is coming off a 44-point win, and it's rare that I'll take a team after a win like that and lay this many points in that next game, but I still think BYU is a little bit undervalued in terms of the betting markets, and I don't think Idaho's the right team to be able to cover in a game like this. I look at Idaho, a decent defensive team, but still gave up 90 points in its last game against Washington State. The offense for me is what is the weakest part of this team. You look at that game against Washington State, Idaho took a lot of low percentage shots. They weren't making a lot of those shots. Turn the ball over way too much. They're not really effective on the glass, both offensively and defensively. They're ranked near the bottom of the country in rebounding. So I just don't know if Idaho has enough answers, similar to Queens College, to be able to cover the spread in this game. And when you look at that game for BYU against Queens, they were up 35-5 at one point in the first half. Just an absolutely dominating performance. This team is balanced. They've got some experienced guys, but also some young recruits like Yegor Demon, who's right now projected an NBA lottery pick next year. So I really think BYU is a team to watch out for in the Big 12, and I think at this price, there's still value taking the Cougars at home. I look for a blowout win for BYU. Next up, we see Yale and Minnesota. This one, 4 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Now, we faded Minnesota in its last game against North Texas, and that was a 54-51 win for North Texas. We mentioned that Dawson Garcia for Minnesota is one of the best players in the country, but North Texas' strong style of defense should be able to minimize his game enough to where the Mean Green will be able to cover or win that game outright, and that's exactly what we saw. Garcia scored 24 points, but it wasn't enough. They didn't really get any other consistent contributors in that game offensively. This is a game, though, that I think is a lot better matchup for Minnesota, a good matchup for Dawson Garcia, and I also think we'll see some other scores get going here for the Gophers. Now, we already know the defense is there for Minnesota. It's right around top 50 in adjusted defensive efficiency. I think it has a strong game, but I also think Yale defensively, I think there's a big problem for them in this matchup. I think Garcia could go off for 30-plus points in this game. I don't think its front court is good enough to compete with Garcia. And if all the attention goes to Garcia, I do think we're going to see some other guys make some noise here for Minnesota. Maybe not the most talented scorers on this roster, but there's still guys with plenty of D1 experience. I think Minnesota takes this game in a bounce back spot at home. Give me the Gophers. I'll lay the points. Next up, we got Seattle and UC San Diego. This one 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. For me, these are two teams going in different directions. I mean, UC San Diego has been balanced, a strong offensive effort. I mean, a really improved offense this year. They're taking care of the basketball, hitting those three-point jumpers at a 37% clip and scoring a lot of their points from three-point range. Their defense was strong last year. It's been strong so far. They're forcing turnovers, good defensive rebounding numbers. Their only loss so far this year was against San Diego State, a 5-point loss as a double-digit dog. They covered the spread easily in that one. And on the flip side, Seattle's 0-3 this season straight up. They've had 2 upset losses already, Eastern Washington and Cal Poly. And, fundamentally, this team has just not been there defensively. They're really struggling to defend the perimeter, and I can't trust them on the road in this game. I think Seattle's schedule is tougher than what it may seem on paper, but in this matchup, I think UC San Diego is the much better team, and I got to go with the Tritons in this one and lay the points. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.